Listen up. There's no more excuses.
We're empowering those who want the hustle by exposing the status quo.
The days of ordinary are over.
It's time to crush mediocrity and start discovering your greatest potential.
Welcome to the Hustle Nation. To the Hustle Nation. To the Hustle Nation. To the Hustle Nation. To the Hustle.
Welcome back to another episode of the Hustle Nation podcast. Today, we've got a real treat all the way from Australia. We welcome Mary Henderson. Mary is a transformational business leader and an internationally recognized personal branding and online business specialist. Mary helps industry experts systematize, digitalize, and commercialize their knowledge, wisdom, and skills into a scalable and profitable online business and brand so they could become an authority in their niche. Mary has 22 plus years of experience in building 7- and 8-figure businesses and building high-performance sales teams in the IT sector. She also has 15 years in delivering online solutions for large and small businesses. She has been featured in many publications and is regarded as a thought leader in the digital sector. Mary, welcome to Hustle Nation Podcast.
Hi, Chris. Hi, Dustin. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much for joining us. I know we got a bit of a time difference, so I love it when we can accommodate people in different parts of the world and get new perspectives.
Well, I'm the future you, so it's my Friday morning, and I think it's your Thursday afternoon. So there you go.
I love that, the future you. Very
Yeah.
cool. Mary, you've been in marketing for a long time. Tell us a little bit more about your journey and how you got to where you are now.
Well, oh my God, it's been such a journey, Chris. I would say my career never started in IT. My career actually started in media, and I just hated media. I was working for the largest TV channel and here in Australia and in the sales and marketing department. And it just was not me at all. It didn't resonate. I just always felt like media was always old, like it was never new. And tech for me was just like, let's go. It was always fresh, it was vibrant, it was young, it was dynamic, and I just desperately wanted to get into the IT sector. So my career, I always say, started at around year 2000, when the tech industry was booming like crazy. I think Google just launched that year. Everything just went absolutely crazy in year 2000, and so did my career as well. So I started in a sales capacity, working in tech industry. I came face to face with personal branding in year 2000, actually, and when I really started to understand the power of it, just because of one sliding door moment. And I built on that experience. And not only did I build on it, I became very, very conscious of the power of personal branding. And because of that, I knew exactly consciously how to command my demand and create, a need, if you will, for the problems that I knew how to solve. And then I got headhunted by a Californian company, a tech company, which I became VP of sales for them for the Asia Pacific region. And I did that for 4 years. And in 2005, I transitioned into entrepreneurship and I started my own business, which essentially was a software business. And as they say, the rest is history. You kind of learn from your failures and your mistakes, and you go up and you go down. My software company became a multi-7-figure business. I merged it with a creative agency, and in 2012, I took a 12-month sabbatical to really. I think I hit rock bottom, even though people on the outside were thinking, wow, she's so lucky. She's got her business. Look at the lifestyle she has, blah, blah, blah. Inside, I was totally dying. Like I was really, really, really struggling. And it wasn't a materialistic struggle. What it was a personal, spiritual, emotional struggle. It was, who am I? Like, really, like, why am I doing this? Where am I going with my life? It was very much those big questions that we ask ourselves. So I took a 12-month sabbatical. I had amazing, amazing mentors, one of which was a professor in philosophy who really helped me unpack these really big life questions. But and I'm sharing that story with you because of that 12-month sabbatical, I was able to really, really think about and contemplate, what do I want to do for the rest of my life, for real? And what I recognized were my strengths, my gifts, my talents, my core values, what I stood for. I really dialed in on that. And I realized that, oh God, I just need to work with individuals. That's my strength. I don't want to work with big corporations. I care about the people in the corporations. I don't care about the corporation. And so I transitioned in 2015 into full-time coaching and developed a system or a systemized platform, which has become, of course, my coaching program, my core signature solution. And it took me 3 years to actually develop those frameworks because I'm a very systems orientated person. I really, really took what I had learned in my software company, applied it in my coaching solution, and I've been a coach since then.
That's a lot to unpack right there, Mary, but I love it. So you said something that stood out to me that I'd love to get an answer about, and you said there was this sliding door moment. Can you tell us more about what that was?
That was I had an opportunity to work for one of the largest tech distribution companies, and it was an awesome opportunity because I had access to every software vendor or every hardware and software vendor in the world. It was just phenomenal. And when I started this new job in a middle management role, my boss said to me, we've got good news and we've got bad news. The good news is you've got this unbelievable opportunity. And the bad news is that you've got 12 weeks to fix this major problem because one of our largest clients was about to pull their business away from us and go to our competitor. And it was a declining $8 million business. Like literally it was declining by the day. And she said, there's 3 predecessors before you couldn't solve the problem. And if you can't solve it in 12 weeks, you're out. And I was like, oh my God. What I didn't know, and the reason why she said 12 weeks was actually there was going to be a massive round of redundancies. Like it was just huge. So could you imagine getting this new job and then being thrown out 12 weeks later? But anyway, I had a meeting with that client, and all of the people in that business were in the meeting except the decision maker. So nothing could happen without that person being in the meeting because I was trying to resolve what is the issue. And I knew I had a systems design mind. Like I think in algorithms, that's how I think. So I knew that I could fix something. I just didn't know what it was. So this person didn't show up. I left the meeting. I went into the lift door opened. There was somebody in that lift, which happened to be the person that didn't attend the meeting. And I was wearing red snakeskin boots. This is a very important part of the story, okay? So I was wearing red snakeskin boots, and I'm in the lift, and I could feel this person just staring at me at the back of me, and she says, oh, I love those red snakeskin boots. I just have to have them. And I looked at her and I said, is your name such and such? She said, yes. And I said, you were supposed to be in my meeting. And she said, well, of course I'm not going to be in the meeting because we're pulling our business away from you. Why would I be in your meeting? And I said, are you going to lunch? And she said, yes. And I said, if you give me 10 minutes, I will tell you where I bought my red snakeskin boots. And she laughed, and it was the icebreaker. And so we went downstairs and I said, let's just have coffee. So she said, okay, I'll give you 10 minutes and we'll have a coffee. So we sat down, and I said to her, I know I can fix this problem, but I can't do it with you and I can't do it with your team because nobody can tell me what the problem is. But what I need to sit with your operations team for 12 weeks, literally in your office, side by side, so I can understand where the gaps are, go back to our business and fulfill those gaps so we have a match made in heaven. And I said, has anyone done that? And she said, no. And I said, will you give me 12 weeks to fix it? So that 12 weeks, that lucky number was in that conversation. And so and she said, okay, I'm going to give you 12 weeks, but on 12 weeks and 1 day, if we haven't resolved that problem, you're out. I said, it's a deal. So I walked out of that meeting, and this is the sliding door moment. And I thought, I just stopped in the middle of the CBD, traffic everywhere, and I was crossing the road. I just remember just stopping, and I had this epiphany. And I'm like, oh my God, two things just happened. One is that my shoes became a conversation starter. It was huge. Number one. Number two, number two is that if I solve this problem, I'm going to position myself as that in the industry. I want to be known as the person that can solve those type of complex problems, and I'm going to now expand on that and become my own brand. This is in year 2000 when personal branding was not even a word, a term. And
Yeah.
so I walked away from that, and I actually achieved that goal. That 8 million declining figure became 22 million in an 18-month period. And let me tell you what happened. My shoes became my brand signature. Like in the industry, everyone, till this day, everyone knew me about my shoes. I invested in my shoes because they genuinely became the conversation starter. Could you imagine walking into a boardroom, doing a negotiation on a contract? You've got four men in suits sitting in there, and I walk in, and everyone looks at my shoes because everyone talks about it. It wasn't that the men were looking at my shoes. It was because the EA walked in and asked me if I wanted a water or a coffee, and she was the one that started the conversation about my shoes. I knew that this was my secret weapon. And then that's how I got headhunted by the Californian company, because my Mary just became a brand, and everyone, all these vendors globally just knew who I was. So that was a phenomenal moment, a sliding door moment, because it changed the trajectory of my whole life. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing today if it wasn't for that sliding door moment.
Mary, as I look at you in the video here, you have this very beautiful M logo as your background, part of your personal brand. How come there's not a snakeskin boot in that logo?
I outgrew the snakeskin boot. I outgrew it. I've become quite, simplified and elegant and minimal now. So, but that's, many years ago, but it was hilarious.
So Mary, one of the things that you kind of glazed over in that story was that ability to, on a snap, right, when that woman found your boots, to recognize who it was, who they were, and then ask still for those 10 minutes. So, if you look at even just your journey, right? I mean, going off to be an entrepreneur, a story like that, just from a mindset perspective, like what was going through your head at that point to really seize the moment? Because I could see a lot of people, especially after she kind of said, "Look, I wasn't there because we're moving away from you." That mindset of seizing the moment, saying, "Well, what have I got to lose? Let's just give me 10 minutes. Let's give it a shot."
Dustin, I was genuinely curious about what the problem was. Like, that was more my driver than I've got to get the sale. The sale was not the driver or the end result at that moment. But I am, generally speaking, a very curious person. So in my mind, I'm thinking, if three other people before me couldn't solve this problem, then I want to solve this problem, and I want to know why they haven't been able to solve the problem. So 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 I love complex problem, and I always say to people, I turn complex into simple. That's my whole philosophy. And so I think that you have to have that level of curiosity in life to be able to unpack things. And the other thing I want to say is that I'm very comfortable in stepping into the unknown, the void. I call it the void, because when you can step into the unknown, we've been programmed to be scared of the unknown. But when you deprogram yourself and you step into the unknown, the void, that's where the magic is. That's where the possibilities live. That's where all the creative genius, the juices, that's where the activation of who you are and your creative abilities, it lives in the void. So by stepping into that place of the unknown, just purely because of my curiosity, I mean, look where it got me today. So, like it's such a powerful way of looking at your life. Just generally speaking, just being able to step into that place of the unknown is actually where we do need to go, not run away from.
Mary, that is spoken as a true entrepreneur. I would say, though, for the non-entrepreneurial people, what do you tell them to get them to be willing to take that risk or step outside their comfort zone? Because I think probably for more people than not, that doesn't come natural. That's not easy for them.
Well, that's a very good question because the people that work with me are typically still in their corporate roles and in fairly senior corporate roles. And what I like to say to people is never leave your job because you want to leave your job and become an entrepreneur. Always have stay in your job, but build your contingency plan on the side and put your focus on that. But stay true and loyal to the company that you work for because that is funding the side hustle. That's one thing. The other thing is, and I think this is massive, and a lot of people don't talk about it, is being in isolation is the worst place you can be when you're starting your entrepreneurial journey. You must belong to some type of tribe. I can't stress this enough. It is probably the single most important thing you must find before you start anything. Because when you're a part of a tribe, not only are people going to be a little bit ahead of you or a little bit behind from you or way ahead of you, but everyone has been on that journey and started at the same place that you're starting. So you've got an ecosystem that you can rely on. You've got an ecosystem that will advocate for you. You've got an ecosystem that you can lean on, and you've also got an ecosystem that will also show you the way. And so you're never feeling isolated. In fact, the tribe motivates you. They move you in the right direction. And I think this is key when when we start that journey. We always have to be moving one step closer towards our end goal. It doesn't happen overnight. All these people that sell this notion, hey, get, 6 figures in 30 days. That's just nonsense. I've been an entrepreneur since 2005. You guys know what it's like. It's not the truth. And so it's a work in progress because it's also a work in progress, not just because the things that you're implementing and testing and getting feedback from takes time, but you as a person grow because you're constantly in the void, and so much uncertainty becomes a big part of your journey. And you have to have that I don't like to use the word thick skin, but I think you have to be open to that and accepting of that. Once you've accepted that the journey is not a straight line, it just makes the journey so much more palatable and so much more fun because we have to understand that entrepreneurship is really tests you in a massive, massive way.
Mary, the other thing you spoke to is that genuine curiosity. And I think a lot of times when people are, whether it's entrepreneurship or trying to grow their business or trying to grow their career, whatever, I think so often people make the mistake of it being more of a selfish reason as opposed to that, to your point, that genuine curiosity of, I just want to go solve the problem. And if I go solve the problem, I can figure these other things out. And, I'm curious, you talked about your software company and then now into your coaching and things like that. How are you searching for those problems to solve? Where do you, because you'll find your next one, I'm confident of that too. So how are you in that constant search of problems to solve that you can tackle?
Well, I think for me, I'm way ahead in my entrepreneurial journey. So I'm going to maybe just answer this a little bit differently. I think that one of the things that we need to implement in our own businesses is a systems design approach, because when you have a systems in place, then you're relying on a feedback loop. Only a system can give you a feedback loop. So when you have a feedback loop, then you're constantly collecting data. When you're collecting data, that's telling you where the problems are, and for me, that's what I thrive on. So if I can see that there are problems, I'm thinking to myself, I've got to solve this problem. At the moment with my clients, I see one problem all the time with everyone, and that is content creation, creating content en masse across social media to be seen and heard. So I come from a tech background, tick. I've got this thing called AI now, tick. And I'm thinking, how can I leverage my frameworks that are very they've been built with precision, with a technology mindset. So how do I get that framework and take out all of the key questions or the matrix that we've developed when we're understanding, say, a target audience? How do I take that framework and plug it into AI so AI can actually create content en masse that's strategic and deliberate, that incorporates emotional triggers, that incorporates psychology, that incorporates specifically the needs, the wants, the pain points, the desires of the person that I want to start a conversation with. So me just putting into Chat GPT, female coach 40 plus, struggling, is going to spit out passive content. That has no meaning to me. It's just like a straight line. And it's like, well, what do I do with this? Because it's passive. But if I can integrate my frameworks, my system with AI, now I'm going to get extremely dialed in, very focused content that has emotional triggers, etc. And create content en masse so that my clients can actually get a lot of content very, very quickly and be able to plug that into all of their social media platforms, because that is a big, big problem. So how do we get to that point? I need the feedback loop. So my clients are telling me this is my problem and I can see it. So I think that to answer that question, if we don't have a systems approach to our business, I don't know how you solve complex problems, because it's always random and reactive. Oh, I can see a problem there. I'll just go there. Oh, hang on a minute. My brand was this today, but now I'm going after chasing here. So now I'm this tomorrow. So people are bouncing back and forth, back and forth. And that's actually not entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship is being super laser focused. It's like, this is my area of expertise. I don't know what the product's going to look like, but I know this is my lane and I'm going to master this. Like I'm going to create a solution around this one problem that I know I can solve. And I'm going to go down that path and see where it takes me, rather than going, I'm going to be this today, that tomorrow, this today. And so the entrepreneurial journey never ever takes off, because you're doing a little bit here and a little bit there. I don't believe that's entrepreneurship, in my opinion. And the other word I want to park here as part of this dialogue is we have to take on that systems approach, because when we think like that, we're always ready. We're always ready, because the amount of intelligence that I have, just because I have a systems approach and I have so much feedback, I'm always ready to create product. I'm always ready to create new solutions. I'm not waiting. I'm ready. And that's a very important part of this journey.
Mhm.
That's
That
amazing.
marriage of people, process, and technology is so critical. I think so
Mm.
often people are relying on one of those three, but tying those three together. I mean, I know in our business, insurance consulting business, right? There's so many people that are like, well, this is just what I remember from last week or the week before. Well, you got to build it into process and technology, because otherwise it's consulting by random, right? It's coaching by random. The reality is in today's world, there's so much information out there. We got to boil it down. And, to your point, the advent of technology and AI and things like that, AI by itself isn't necessarily all that intelligent. right?
Correct.
You got to find ways to drive it and to coach it and to utilize it, just like any technology.
That's exactly right. I see it as an entity. It's like, okay, I've got all these data points. Now I need you to work for me. I'm not going to work for you. I need you, AI, to work for me. And so we've got to flip it, because when you can flip it, then it becomes very powerful.
Mary, I love the angle you're going here, because I talk a lot coming from a marketing background, and I was speaking at a conference last week, and I asked the audience, was about 220 people, quick show of hands, who has a strategy. And I know Dustin's heard me say this before many times, and you get about 7 hands. And I said, okay, well, who has it in document format? And you got about 3 people out of about 220. And I look around and I just kind of stop and think, it's no wonder most of you are struggling with your marketing, or probably your business in general. Because if you don't have a marketing plan, you probably don't have a business plan. And the next slide, I ask, well, who has a vision? Like, what do you want to achieve this year? And I ask somebody, and they're like, well, it'd be nice to have more downloads and more leads. Well, that's not a plan or a strategy. But more importantly, I think really distilling it down is, even if you did have one, I think most people don't even utilize it because it's too complicated. So most of this is, what I'm getting at, is a lot easier than we make it. But we just need a plan, right? We need a direction. Otherwise, we feel like we're in that hamster wheel. I tried it, doesn't work. I dipped my toe in the pool. It's too cold. I don't like it here. I just, do you find that to be true in your business with your clients?
Absolutely, and it happens all the time. And I think you made a very valid point, Chris. I think that people are chasing fame. To be honest with you, I really do. I think social
Yeah.
media has opened up a platform, and the reason why people don't have a strategy is because they genuinely want to be famous. I can tell you this. I have so many people on social media who have hundreds and thousands of followers. Most of them have called into me, like book strategy calls. And the one thing they all have in common is the hundreds and thousands of followers they have do not convert to dollars. Okay, that's the one common theme. Number one. Number two, they do not have a strategic and deliberate content plan, sales plan, go to market plan, nothing of that sort. And the third thing is, and this is where it gets very dangerous, is most of those people, even the ones that want to start their entrepreneurial journey, they actually don't have a problem that they can solve. They don't know what problem they can solve. And when I always break it down, I always ask these people the right questions. And then the bottom line always is, and I always end up saying, so what you want is, you want to be famous. That's really what you want. And they're like, and I'm like, I know that's what you want. So you need to go to Hollywood, and you need to find a Hollywood agent that's going to make you famous, because I work with super, super intelligent people that genuinely want to make a difference in the world, because they have 20, 30 years experience in their area of specialization, and they want to systemize that. So that they're the brains that I work with. But you're talking about being famous for being famous, like AKA Kim Kardashian. So I'm thinking
Influencer.
that's right. But you see, the influencer's now dying because the influencer doesn't have any more to bring to the table than false eyelashes, injected lips, and and a fucked up body. I mean, who cares? And I see this on
No
Facebook.
value.
There's no value, Chris. You see all these, especially females, and I just cannot believe that this is happening when all these women are fighting for equality. But these women on social media are taking photos literally of their G-strings with their backside, telling other coaches, this is the laptop lifestyle. I'm like, I don't want your butt. I don't want to wear a G-string. Like, that's not aspirational to me. It's not what I want. I don't see that as the laptop lifestyle. I'll tell you what I see as a laptop lifestyle: being able to take my kids, my children, on an expedition to Europe or something like that, and having the time of our life so they can experience things. That to me is the laptop lifestyle. Spending time with the people I love, that's the laptop lifestyle to me. So doing those, creating those, I want to be famous and look at my body, buffed up body type of photos, and telling me how to create offers on the fly to become a 7-figure coach. is hideous. But this is what we're dealing with. And so what I find is that we have to, as entrepreneurs, the ones that speak the truth, the ones that have been on the journey, the ones that have been on the hero's journey, the ones that have stepped into the void and aren't afraid to actually speak the truth, those people, those entrepreneurs, we need to now rise above, and we need to take a stand and say, hey, hang on a minute. Do you have a strategy? Do you have a vision? Do you have a strategic plan on how you're going to show up on social media? Or are you just reacting every day and just spraying and praying? Because that's what most of them are doing. So if we ask those questions, and I've been doing that on Facebook a lot, and let me tell you, my posts are resonating. They're resonating because people are saying, oh, no one's ever asked me that question. But you know what I mean? So if we do that, then we actually start a different conversation, and that opens the door for entrepreneurs that genuinely want to make a difference.
Mary, that's one of the reasons you came onto my radar. And that's one of the things that I try to do at least, is solely focus on adding value to my followers' news feeds. Not selling, not promoting. It is teaching, empowering, inspiring, educating, maybe entertaining, although I'm not that funny. And that's what you do. And I think that is how you accumulate followers and you build influence or authority online.
Yeah, I think that you're absolutely right. And I think the other thing is that for me, on a platform like LinkedIn, for example, even Facebook, I'm very strategic and deliberate on LinkedIn. So on LinkedIn, you're never going to see me, share cat and dog videos or, me in a G-string. That's never going to happen. But, these type of, or exercising, in front of a video and showing everybody how I'm doing my morning routine. Like, I don't care. Like, no one cares about that. But when I'm connecting with people on LinkedIn, Chris, I'm consciously connecting with the people that I want to connect with. So I want to be able to add value, but I want to receive value in return. So it's a two-way street, because I've met so many amazing people on LinkedIn, for example, and Facebook as well, just purely because you do provide value, like genuinely provide value. This is how I built my 82,000 followers on LinkedIn, or 83,000, whatever it is now, just purely because I've been able to handpick the people that I want in my tribe. And I think it's very, very important. But you see, the content that I create is for them. That's it. I'm not interested in the 835 million people on LinkedIn. It's just my tribe, the people that follow me, that are connected to me. I'm creating content for them only.
I love it. Well, you've done nothing but that. You've done nothing but add value to this show, and we thank you very much for that. We are kind of wrapping up our time with you. I wish we could extend this, but before we let you go, Mary, can you tell people where they can find you and what else you might have going on?
Yeah. So first of all, please feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn and my personal Facebook page, which is Mary Henderson Coaching. You can check out my website, maryhendersoncoaching.com. You can book and I've got a lot of free trainings on my website. Or you can book a call with me, a 45-minute call. It's for free. As long as you are ready to go down this path of entrepreneurship. And that's maryhendersoncoaching.com/apply, APPLY.
That was great. We appreciate your time. I love talking AI. I love talking business, and the story about the boots. I mean, that was amazing. Thanks for sharing.
Thanks, Chris.
I don't know that applies to me, but
thank you.
To all you listeners out there today, thank you so much for tuning in, for downloading, for reviewing. We appreciate you. We'll see you next time. Peace.
Thank you for being part of the Hustle Nation. If you're serious about raising the bar in your personal and professional life and willing to go all in on your success, head over to hustleleaders.com. Here you can get access to our Hustle Productivity ebook, attend our Hustle Masterclass, or challenge yourself to the 30-day Hustle Challenge. Pairing these tools and training with the Hustle Nation podcast will help you advance to a whole new level. Until next time, stay hungry and inspire those around you to hustle.